Good morning, iRacers. Just very quickly, Simon Povey has asked me to do a run in the F3 open wheeler. So this morning I'm quickly going to do a run with Bogeyman first. This is my old Simucube OSW with this AKM 65 servo. So I've been testing some new firmware for this open sim wheel users that Mika has released over the weekend. So just a very quick update. My Simucube force reconstruction filter is at 8, and then torque bandwidth limit at 4700 Hz. I'm not using any peaking and notching filter setup, but then damping is at 4.5, friction at 1, and inertia at 5. So that is basically the setup with 100% overall strength slider in Simucube configurator. And then if we look at what we have in iRacing, my max force slider is at 70 Newton meters with a wheel force of roughly 37 Newton meters. So that should give us something like about 80 Newton meters sort of torque level, which is similar to what I've been testing with the Ultimate. So I will just be running a few laps. I'm absolutely an idiot with this car. I've probably my second time in it. So track of this week is Watkins Glen. And just for comparison, the track info, it's a 42 degrees track, so pretty slippery out there. So it's dynamic conditions, of course. What I will do though is I will run 1 or 2 laps with this wheel so that you can see the response behavior. Like I said, the damping is at 4.5, friction at 1, and the inertia at something like 5. So you can see what the wheel behavior is like. I'm using Brett from HRS's Zero Play quick release up here because I'm reviewing that and testing it. So I have exactly the same quick release on the Ultimate for testing it on there as well. So you guys can get a pretty good comparison on how the wheel is responding between this massive AKM 65 servo with quite a lot of built-in inertia, natural damping if you want to call it that. And then later this afternoon I'll do another video which I'll probably roll into this one. Exact same track, same conditions, same steering wheel, same quick release coupler. So the basic weight that I'm adding to the system will be the same. So the only difference will be then of course the servo itself with its lower inertia, and of course the Simucube 2 faster electronics with its filters. So let me have a couple of laps. I'm again not using my Pimax headset. I guess it's a bit easier to display just on the 2D screen what you guys want to see. So let's have a quick go, and or maybe a slow go, and see how it responds. Just want to get these guys opportunity to get past me because I'm afraid I'll be quite slow and inept in this car. So I have no idea what the actual real life torque level is that these cars can produce, but it feels nice and light on the wheel. It's not overly heavy at all, and steering is nice and stable up here. These open wheelers are a little bit more chatty than the GT3 cars or the Tintok cars. So there's a little bit more wheel movement, but this is in no means tiring or driving me insane on the torque level. I'd probably imagine in real life what I can feel here, this car's probably kicking out maybe 10 or 12 Newton meters, I'm not sure. Even with the settings that I have on with the stable wheel, I feel quite a lot coming through the car. I hate this overly noisy, low damping setups where you get a lot of noise and each and every grain coming through the wheel. I don't think that's how it is in real life. But what I'm feeling here is quite good, and the car communicates its attitude pretty well. I'm just running a medium downforce setup on this, guys. So baseline set, full fuel, medium downforce, one of iRacing's baseline setups. So I'm not expecting to set the world alight with pace. Little bit understeery through the carousel, but that's okay. Alright, so there you have it, guys. It's not the fastest laps, but it feels very comfortable. It feels pretty decent, quite enjoyable. So round about the sort of 18, 19 Newton meter torque level, I would imagine, maybe 70 Newton meters, but nice and responsive, not killing you with too much shock load with this rapid changes back and forth. So this has been my servo of choice for quite a while. It's rather big, hefty servo, lots of overhead capacity, and it's not about the maximum torque. As I keep on telling guys, it doesn't matter that the servo can do 38 Newton meters 1-to-1. I prefer running it around this 20 Newton meter level, and it is just having that capacity to get all the input that you need from the track, if that is how you prefer it. That's available to you. So rather enjoyable, I would imagine. With this sort of torque level and this specific servo, you could do a couple of hours at this torque setting. I will follow this up, guys. I need to deconstruct this rig very quickly, refit my ultimate servo on this, because there's a new firmware with some exciting new filters that Mika's developed that I need to test. So let me get onto that and I'll get back to you a bit later. Cheers. Guys, alright, I'm back. So I've refitted the ultimate wheel very quickly, and like I said before the break, I've got the same zero play quick release from HRS in Australia on here. So just testing this for Brett, both on the ultimate servo, which is very, very fast reactive servo, as well as on Bogeyman, which got a bit more torque on the top end. Very happy to say that both these servos, the quick release just handles it perfectly. So absolutely zero play on it, as the name is suggesting as well. But anyway, just coming back to this ultimate, Mika sent me another firmware version earlier this morning, and or last night, and I decided to finalize testing on Bogeyman. So now I've fitted this ultimate back again, and I've got this new firmware up and running, version 50.5. There's one additional new filter that is in here. I'm not going to go into the details too much on that now, but suffice it to say that I could most likely run probably a half to 2/3 the settings on damper, friction and inertia at the same torque level with reduced oscillation. So if I had a specific dampen, friction and inertia at a specific torque setting, running that new filter, I can actually halve the damping and friction and inertia and still not get any oscillation. That is fantastic, because it allows you to actually, if you are the sort of person that is after this maximizing the feel that is coming from the track, all this details from the gravel and the curbs and the rumble strips and all that, I think that you would actually love that filter. Just a little bit comparison, coming back from the Bogeyman to this. Bogeyman felt superb after this weekend's release of the new firmware that Mika's done for it. He has done some updates on the force feedback update rate internally, reduced latencies on the USB side as well, and it was not placebo. I could definitely detect that the wheel was responding even better than it did before, and at the same reconstruction filter of 8, it was ever so slightly even more rubbery, the feel that you had from the tires onto the wheel. So that was really great. I was however surprised coming back to this one at the same reconstruction filter of 8 to find that it's even more so. So again, it comes back to modern electronics, faster processors on this, allowing to implement lower latencies, coding more optimally as well, and then having much better filter application. So I have to say that yes, even despite Bogeyman servo probably being my favorite servo, being at that big in size and really a lot of natural damping, there is absolutely nothing that it can do that I cannot do with the ultimate. And with the given amount of filters that we have now, you can actually span all the way from the SS2 Bodner system to the old Argon system and anything in between, and that is a lot said. Plus then there's of course a reduced latency with the fast electronics in this wheel, and it gives you, with some of the additional filters that Mika and Tero is developing, Mika on the user application interface side, and then Tero working with it on the Ioni or the drive controller side rather, I think that this is going to be absolutely the wheel to beat. I am just again amazed at normally I would do a test on a new wheel for a week or two, then go back to the old wheel, and then go back to another new wheel again. But in this instance, going back to the Bogeyman, yes, it felt really good after the firmware update on the weekend. But again, now coming back to this one with this new filter that Mika is having me test today, again, it opens another door for us, another avenue to explore. Let me do a few laps. I've got probably a bit higher torque level with this one than I had earlier on Bogeyman with the previous video. But other than that, let me just have a quick look-see. I think filters are pretty similar. Actually, I can run the filters exactly the same, and then you guys can draw your own conclusions from that, see how reactive the wheel is, and from one version to the next one. But this is now exactly running same filter, damping at 25%, friction at 15%, and inertia at 50%. Of course, there's another secret filter that is active in here that I've enabled for testing. But other than that, everything else is the same. I don't have the static force reduction filter active. I don't have the slew rate filter active. They are all off. So other than that, everything else is the same. So let's have a bit of a quick look. Again, the setup on the car is exactly the same as in the previous test. The track, if anything, is slightly cooler than this morning session. And you guys knowing the Renault F3, it's quite a feat on trying to induce oscillation with this wheel on the straights. I think on similar torque levels as 16, 17 Newton meters with other wheels, I think it will oscillate quite all over the place. And considering the filters that's in use here, it is really surprising that there's no oscillations. There's definitely at the same filter settings more detail that is coming through from the road surface compared to Bogeyman. It might not be that visible in just observing the driving behavior between the two wheels, but I can definitely feel it in my hands. maybe one of the iRacing guys would be so kind as to share setup with me, so I can get this a little bit closer to the edge through that bus stop back there. The dampers is very stiff, and it is just bouncing the car all over the place, so it induces quite a lot of bad behavior, and it doesn't help that I'm an old muppet trying to steer an F3 car around the circuit. I should leave this for the younger fellas. So nice to feel the tires. You can actually start to feel when the car roll over the tires. Well, pretty big moment there. That was fun. Yeah, she just started to oversteer all the way coming into that turn back there. And generally with this car, once it starts to oversteer, it's very difficult to recover. But somehow I managed to catch that. Not sure how exactly. Luck must be on the side of the dumb and the bolt, I guess. let's see if I can do a quick check on what I've done at the back there in the previous lap, if I can find it. Maybe it was over here somewhere, maybe even one back. Let's have a quick look, see guys, if I can find that for you. Yep, that's the one. So in real time, this is what it looked like from inside the cockpit. You can see the car oversteering, and yeah, this is a tricky car because it's aero car, of course, and once you start losing speed through there, you actually lose downforce as well. So it is not that easy to control this bloody thing. And coming from a GT environment, wow. Let's have a quick look. See, this is in slow motion. Just coming into this high speed corner, backing off the throttle a bit, and I guess the diff lock and coast is not helping at all. So they're starting to understeer, and ever so slightly starting to correct, and then she responds and going back again, and she kicks the second time, and this time she's aiming right for those water barriers at the pit entry. So I thought I had it there, but funny enough, car just got back online and stabilizes, and there she goes. Oh well, I would ascribe that one more to luck than anything else, but surprising what you can sometimes do with some of these wheels. So just as a final view, the chase mode in real time. It looks more spectacular in slow motion, but I tell you what, your heart sits in your throat when that happens, and if it's in a race it's even worse, because normally you have about 20-30 guys swarming around you and everybody's all over the place when that goes. But guys, yes, this is just a quick test now with the Ultimate, with the new filter. I'll give feedback to Mika tonight.